Let's now talk about all of the cues that we should track from an India market standpoint. Our research team is here with the trade setup. Ekta, Hormaz and Nigel are all with me to help you out in terms of the cues that you should watch ahead of this trading session. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, looks like the start is definitely going to be, once again, a big gap down to really begin things. But take us through everything that we should watch.
Well, yes, morning, the markets recorded what was the biggest fall that we've seen in 2 years. We had the Nifty Bank, which did slide more than 4%, biggest fall since Feb 2022. HDFC Bank recorded what was the worst day in 3 years as well. Large FII net sell figure, maybe we need to look into the internals of that to see whether there are any exceptionals. DII's net bought over 4,000 odd crores. Now, in terms of the what really hit us yesterday was weak global cues combined with pressure in private banks, which really weighed on sentiment. Now, the street is likely to focus on financial earnings post HDFC Bank. So, for example, we have IndusInd Bank, South Indian Bank tomorrow. We have Poonawalla FinCorp from the financial space tomorrow. We have Central Bank of India, RBL Bank also on the coming out with numbers, and or rather IndusInd and South Indian is today. We have Central Bank and RBL tomorrow. And then we have ICICI Bank, Kotak, IDFC First Bank, J&K Bank, a lot of these numbers on Saturday. So I think Monday's trading session will be quite critical in terms of the reaction because we will be reacting to Reliance Industries as well. But just coming back to today, the global setup is weak as well. So that was one of the key concerns yesterday. We've been talking about how the Fed's probability of cutting rates has now reduced when it comes to the first half of the year. So US is lower. We have Asia, which is lower. Brent crude at $78 per barrel. And the GIFT Nifty, which is indicating a lower start. Also, watch out for key numbers such as Polycab, which will be releasing numbers today, and hence the street will watch out for these kind of mid-cap numbers, stocks which have run up, and in case there's a disappointment, we could probably see a more adverse reaction.
Okay, got that. So those are all of the cues that we should watch. Ekta, thanks a lot for that. Let's also bring in Hormaz, who has that entire list of stocks that we should watch today in terms of the news flow that came through overnight. Hi, Hormaz.
Morning, Pavitra. And when HDFC Bank moves the way it does, I don't think that any other stock would matter. But still, there is a long list of stocks that we need to track. First up is ICICI Prudential, where the numbers were pretty bad. The numbers missed estimates on all fronts. The annual premium equivalent was of 5%. That was a miss. The value of new business and the VNB margins, all of them were a miss on expectations. What will also react to earnings today is LTI Mindtree, Oracle Financial, Jindal SAW, and other companies that reported after market hours. Sun Pharma will acquire the remaining outstanding shares of Taro for almost 3,000 crore rupees. That was in the works for a while. They will take Taro private post the merger that is expected to be completed in the first half of 2024. And remember, Sun Pharma currently holds around 78% stake in Taro. NHPC, the government announced an OFS last night where they plan to sell up to 3.5% stake, including a 1% green shoe option in it. The non-retail OFS will open today. For retail, it will open tomorrow. The government currently owns around 70% stake in NHPC, and the stock has run up around 75% over the last 12 months. Nazara Tech has raised 250 crore rupees through a preferential issue from Kamath Associates, NK Squared, Plutus Wealth Management. These three will be investing around 50 crore rupees each. The other investors include ICICI Prudential through its various funds, and the funds that they have raised will be used for funding growth objectives, strategic acquisitions, and for general corporate purposes. Precall, the CNBC TV18 news break was confirmed where Minda Corp sold its remaining 15.5% stake, and they will gain around 250 crore rupees, and Nomura and Goldman Sachs are some of the buyers in the deal. And lastly, Indiabulls Housing Finance has approved raising 5,000 crore rupees through various methods. Back to you.
All right, Hormaz, thanks a lot for taking us through all of that action. And Hormaz was pointing out, to HDFC Bank, and that is, of course, likely to see a little bit more of a pullback as well because the ADR, after opening around 5% lower, went ahead and closed with an over 9% kind of cut. So, of course, that and the entire financial SPAC will be important to watch. But let's also bring Nigel in. He's looking at all of the cues from the futures and options space. Nigel.
Morning, Pavitra. Since you spoke about the HDFC ADR, let me take that first up. The ADR is equal to 3 stocks here in India. So if you just convert that, $55, if you convert it into Indian rupees, multiply by 3, multiply by 83, multiply by 83 and then divide by 3, you will get a price of around 1,540. And that's where we closed yesterday. Now, the point is the ADR normally trades at a premium of around 8 to 10% in comparison to the stock price. will the ADR continue to command that kind of premium, or will that premium come down? If the premium is likely to come down or diminish, then maybe in fact you don't see that deeper cut today, and you'll see a far more normal reaction on the HDFC stock price. So let's see how that goes. Just equating the HDFC Bank ADR to the stock price. Moving to what did the FIs do yesterday? There was a swing factor of close to around 60,000 contracts. Yes. In a single session, 60,000 contracts. Why is that? Short positioning went up by around 25,000 contracts and the longs came down by close to around 35,000 contracts. So now the long positioning from around 70%, it's come down to around 54%. And just take a look at that. We're talking about the net longs that the FIs had. We didn't want it to go to around 100,000 odd. It appears more sanity has returned now, and now it's come down to around 20,000 contracts odd. The reason is there are shorts that are added in the system and there are longs that have got unbound as well. The PCR, we made this point a couple of sessions ago that it's moved to the upper end of the range. When we see the upper end of the range, we normally see a bit of a cool off in the markets. Well, HDFC Bank was the trigger, but now it's come down to around 0.7, and normally at around 0.65, we do see a bit of a bounce. Crucial levels up for you on the screen. The HDFC Bank 52-week low, that's going to be a crucial support zone. 100 EMA becomes a bit of a resistance. And on the Nifty, the recent swing low, that's 21,450, important level. If that breaks, I don't think anyone's talking about live below the 20,800 mark, which incidentally is the 50 DMA, but you'll start feeling confident only once we get past the 20 DMA. Back to you.
All right, Nigel, thanks for taking us through all of those cues and some of these crucial levels as well. We do